So, yeah, the truth about Satan that they don't tell us. Of course they don't. So, we were allowed to read in the scriptures, about Satan questioning Job's faithfulness, and one session where God is amongst the other Elohim, and he says, okay, who will go forth and cause this lie to go forth through the land? One of them stands up and says, I'll do it. And we do have stories about the primordial beings who wanted nothing to do with creating humanity. They thought, bad idea. Don't want any part of it. So, the chief amongst all the spirits over humanity, called Mistema, also called Satan. In the book of Jubilees, it explains how Noah's sons, the land was divided amongst them, and they disclosed how they were going to divide it amongst their sons. So Noah knew that the evil spirits, because his sons came to him and said, the evil spirits are doing this to us, they're causing all this trouble. And so Noah prayed. He said, these spirits are causing the righteous to be misled. And he prayed that God would do something about it. So God put a certain he answered Noah's prayer, had the angels lock up a certain number of the spirits that were causing trouble. And of course Satan says, well, how am I going to fulfill your judgment against unrighteous humanity if I don't have any of these spirits to do the work for me? How can I get my job done? And so God allows I think it was 1/10 of them to continue. So yeah, that's why Satan's not locked up. He has a role in heaven. And I read in the book of Enoch how Satan and another one of the angels is writing, condemning humanity every day. He's writing something and then give it to the angels that are supposed to take it to God. And they just take it and they throw it on the fire instead, because they know that God doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to hear all the charges against humanity. We have Enoch for that. Satan's just supposed to do what God says. And I had picked up on that thread before. God says, I'm the creator of righteousness and of evil. And so evil isn't solely describing bad intentions and sins and unrighteous stuff. Evil, and you'll read it, you'll hear it as you go through the scriptures, when judgment is passed on somebody, they're suffering, and they say, God, why have you done this evil to me? So even righteous action is referred to as evil. Evil is just something we don't like. It's something that goes against us. A judgment against us or a violation against us. Both fall under the term evil. And that's how God is a God of good and evil. And it also substantiates what former wizards and witches and stuff say about, when somebody says, hey, can you cast a spell for me? And the wizards would, take it before Satan, and Satan would go to God and say, hey, we have a request to kill this one. Can we go off him? And God says, yeah. They'll come down, perform the ritual, and the guy dies. Obviously, God wouldn't allow it if he was a righteous dude. At this point, we're pretty much all unrighteous, so. But it doesn't mean, we aren't inclined to do good when we aren't manipulated. And that's where the insight that manufactured consent is not going to fly. I'm taking it to God. There was something else there. It keeps coming back to my mind. So, I got the foreknowing, or the awareness, the edge of sleep, the dream thing, that the wheel of karma has been broken. So, for example, in Jubilees, we learn that Cain, because he killed his brother with a rock, Cain died by rock. His house of rocks fell on him and killed him. And so it is that, the way in which we would kill another, we would be killed. And so that takes me back to, I had an abortion when I was 19. And so it would be wrong for anybody to sue for malpractice if I were to die in surgery, or if I was prescribed a medication that killed me. That would be justice, death by a doctor. At the same time, and I accept that, I'm not afraid. I have to go to the doctor to meet certain qualifications so that I can continue to get certain incomes, benefits, whatever. Doctors have done a number on me. They've created a disability in me that I can't overcome. But welcome to my world. But I'm okay with that. It's alright. I'm not invested in living through Armageddon. If I gotta go, I gotta go. Now I know the way I would go. Hey, I'm telling you, being under anesthesia, I was having a C-section, and I smelled burning flesh. I'm like, what's going on here? I was like, I'm feeling like I'm floating away. And the doctor said, oh, they accidentally cut an artery. We're cauterizing it. And I thought to myself, bleeding to death under anesthesia would be the best way to die. You feel no pain. You just go easy. I mean, it was nice and floaty, and I knew I was leaving my body, and it was okay. But at the same time, so what I didn't know then, okay, these are important notes. Number one, we're told it's a clump of cells. So I went in, and all of a sudden, the doctor stops, and he makes it a point to tell me that, oh, wait a minute, the head is clogging the tube. I need to crush it. Do I need to tell you how horrified I was? I had been lied to. that was manipulated consent. Add to that, many years later, this year, I learned that when one of those spells wants to be cast to cause the death of somebody, a abortion would be scheduled, and the wizard would show up there at the clinic, and although the wizard may not be the one performing it, he would just need to dip his knife that they use for ritual magic in the blood of this wounded child, or the doctor performing the abortion would use it on the child and then hand it to the wizard, and the wizard would take it and cast the spell. Knowing that my father was most likely in some sort of MK Ultra program because he guarded the president himself during the Vietnam War, and then came out and got involved with the Masonic Hall, and was metaphorically in bed with the Albanian mafia. I think it is, and my father's the one who paid for the abortion, I think it's safe to assume that I was definitely manipulated into this, and my father got high points for his cronies, probably got a good business deal and some extra money out of it, and Satan got to let somebody else die. But again, as I said, I get it. I'm not holding any grudge against God. I'm not going to say, oh, it's not fair. I was in ignorance, obviously. I wasn't taught the law. Of course, man-made law is ignorance is no excuse. But it made sense to me because I was young. There was no way I was going to parent like the examples of parents I had around me. The ones that were supposedly good parents, and my parents, which clearly were not. There was no... I did not believe that I could be a mother because I could not, in good faith, treat any child the way that I saw children being treated. There was no good parenting. And I knew that if I didn't parent as other people parented, my child would be taken away anyways. And be turned into just like the rest of the children. So for me, I couldn't be a mother. There was just, that was my perception. And then, where did that perception come from? I made a damn good mother. Holy crap, was I a good mother. Like, even the people who hated me and wanted to take my kids away, they couldn't. There was no fault found in me. So, obviously that was a lie. And so there's all this manufactured consent going on. And as I said, the wheel of karma broke. So, it could be that I do not have to die at a doctor's hands. Which, the contract that I had for the number of children to the certain type of man is fulfilled. My usefulness to Satan's over. I was in the doctor's hands after the contract. I could have been off at any time, but I wasn't. So, yeah. That one, we've already been told, days are numbered. And it's only allowed to still happen because somebody's got to do the dirty work. And then he will be restricted for 1,000 years before he's let loose for a little while. And that too is why when I start smelling that consciousness around me, I always treat him like a brother, because I know that he is family. He has family amongst the spirits. He's the head of the spirits. And how many spirits does he have governance over? And they're only doing what they're told, and they have to. It doesn't mean they want to be doing it. So that's another interesting bit of information, so you know. And it's the same reason why Michael couldn't condemn Satan. He said, "Let God rebuke you," over Moses' body. So you don't want to go around cursing. And people go around. Yes, Yeshua said that, they'd have authority over demons and stuff. At the same time, one has to have the perspective that some of them are doing God's will. I mean, it isn't God's will that anyone be lost. However, God's realistic and knows and understands. And Satan's going to be around for as long as the perceived need for him is around. Good grief. There you go. Oh, and Noah was instructed by the angels because he knew that Satan's minions would not act justly. He was given medicinal knowledge and practices to help defend against. He was taught about the machinations of the devil, which Yeshua said, so many are perishing due to lack of knowledge. Or God is quoted as saying, so many of my people are perishing due to lack of knowledge. Well, where is this book of Noah? Because there's definitely medicinal practices that are evil, and we don't know it. So it would be nice to have a righteous man's information on medicinal use of herbs and stuff like that. There you go. So be it. And so it is. A little more information.